Morton Downey Jr. reporting live to you today, my friends, from the Museum of Broadcast Communications in Chicago, Illinois. I would like to go to our telephones right away. Bruce Dumont is my guest, political analyst and a political commentator out of the Chicago area, but networked across this country for those folks who like to get other opinions. I like to get them, even though they're sometimes kind of pablum-pukey. But I see, no offense meant by that, of course. Carl is calling us from WTAR in the Hampton areas. Carl, how are you?
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good, sir.
Fine. Same here. I was just listening to your commentary. I was getting ready to do something, and I just had a call because I was cracking up. I was making some coffee here, and you had me doubling over.
Maybe you were doubling over from that damn coffee you're making.
Maybe so. I haven't drank it yet. Maybe just the aroma. But you actually think that people are going to get along with your family value theme? And
well, wait a second. I'm not dictating what family values are. I'm only saying, to me, it is very simple to have family values. Your family values start within the walls of your own home, extend to your immediate family, and extend to your extended family, which is the world. For God's sakes, if you can handle your own family and you then can't handle the world, and so someone treats you like crap, I don't care about that. Avoid them. Stay away from me. You don't stick your foot in dog manure and expect to have the bottom of it smelling good.
Well, I understand people are going to treat people like crap, but that's part of you. When you say stay away from them, by living in the world and says no man is an island, it's impossible to stay away from people. This coffee that I mentioned earlier, I had to go to the store and buy it. I had to stand in line and listen to a clerk who is making minimum wage, and people are coming by and passing her money, and she doesn't have the same attitude that the store owner has. The store owner is smiling because he's making money. She's not smiling because she's got to sit there and deal with people who have all kinds of attitudes, from your attitude, which is la 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 la, to somebody who will say drop dead. So
yeah,
that's part of it.
And should we feel sorry for her?
Well, actually, I don't know how to feel. I just sort of going about my business. I don't want to say.
See, there you go. You're doing exactly what I said. But I'm not saying turn them off. I'm saying tune them out. All right, tune out the negatives and turn on the positives. And let me tell you something. Have you ever tried this on someone? I have. Downey, you are the biggest slime piece of crap that ever walked the face of the earth. And just look at him and say, God, I guess maybe you're right. I'm sorry. I really always have admired and liked you. Let me tell you something, Carl. They can't beat it. Their egos suck it right up. They got to like you back, and automatically you got a friend. Or at least an identified enemy, which is even better.
Well, an identified enemy, I'm trying to stay away from them, but I really don't need no more enemies.
Check the backyard, Carl. I don't want to make you paranoid. Check the backyard.
Nobody back there. I got some tomato plants that are withering. That's one thing that's back there. But for instance, you're driving down the highway, and the sign says 35, 55, or whatever. Nobody, not even the cops, respect those speed limit signs. Now, I know because I'm one of the people who do 35. And when I do 35, everybody passes by me, and not only pass by me on a two-lane street, but some of them have the audacity to actually blow their horns and speed up, dummy.
Well, see, Carl, now here you are in the typical American life, the typical American family value. You are driving slower than the speed limit, and everyone is passing you, and you're sitting there getting angry when they blow the horn at you by saying, what the hell are you blowing the horn at me for? I'm going along, I'm moving along, but you're not. You are not keeping up with what you could be doing for yourself, and that's where we get into a problem. And we'll get into a real problem here if Bruce doesn't start joining me and if we don't get these commercial messages out of the way.
You can call Mort. In the Washington, D.C. area, it's 202-882-9721. Nationwide, it's toll-free, 1-800-28-4-MORT.
KVI features the hottest talkers on radio. Limbaugh, Siegel, Reagan, and now Morton Downey Jr.
Eddie Murphy hits like a boomerang. Saturday night at 10 on Q13, Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor are doing anything to stay in business in Harlem Nights.
Oh, how was your day? I killed her.
It's the 30s, and Murphy is the muscle at Pryor's Harlem Club. He spends most of his time busting heads with gangsters who want a piece of their action.
Oh, you want to fight? You want to fight?
Harlem Nights, the movie Murphy wrote, directed, and is funny in. Then Sunday afternoon at 5 on Q13.
You know, lots of people with big ears are famous.
Just ask Ross Perot and Dumbo. You've seen a dragonfly. You've seen a horsefly. But in Disney's classic Dumbo, you'll see an elephant fly. Saturday night at 10, Harlem Nights. Sunday afternoon at 5, Disney's Dumbo on Q13.
Eagle Tire and Automotive in Federal Way is celebrating 5 fantastic years in business as South King County's #1 Goodyear dealer. Owners John and Ron Karosky want to invite you to take a look at the tremendous savings that are a part of their great anniversary sale. Several lines of Goodyear tires, including the Eagle GT all-season performance radials, are on sale. Buy 3 at the regular price and get the 4th one free. They've got refreshments, door prizes, and with every purchase of Goodyear tires, you'll get a Goodyear hat. Check out these great Eagle Tire and Automotive service specials. An oil change, oil filter, and chassis lube for most cars, just $16.99. Get your cooling system ready for winter with Eagle's cooling maintenance service for just $49.99. And a complete preventative maintenance tune-up starting in just $49.99 for 4-cylinder cars. Call John or Ron at 838-2424 for other great service specials and tire prices. Eagle Tire and Automotive, 1515 South 344th and Federal Way. Call 838-2424. Eagle Tire and Automotive's anniversary sale is in progress now.
Have you been denied a credit card because of previous credit problems? You can now get a genuine MasterCard or Visa. But don't be fooled. Other companies are offering credit cards, but many can't deliver a MasterCard or Visa. New Era Bank of Somerset, New Jersey is FDIC insured and authorized to issue genuine MasterCard and Visa cards. Our secured credit card program guarantees your acceptance or your entire application fee is refunded. To enroll, call 1-900-776-6364. There's a $10 charge for this call that will be applied to your $65 application fee, and most applications are accepted. Don't wait. Call 1-900-776-6364. Even if you've had a history of bad credit or a bankruptcy, call today. Remember, if you're not accepted, your money will be refunded. Call 1-900-776-6364. That's 1-900-776-6364.
Morton Downey Jr. on 570 KVI, Seattle's #1 news talk station, the one that's hot.
It's 1241.
Family values messages. Hey, I'm Morton Downey Jr. I'll give you family values messages. Here's one passed along for you. Ready? You know the lifetime ban that Steve Howe was under because of his problems with drugs? 7 times suspended, Bruce, because of drug use. Although this time, incidentally, I'm not sure that it was fair that they did it to him. But let's go back to the other 6 times. All right, there. I've made my caveat so I can take a spin off here. Steve Howe is admitted back into baseball, my friends. What does that say to the kids? Hey, kids, it's cool, man. Just don't take too many. Don't smoke too much of that crack, and don't sniff that. Whatever that stuff is. Cocaine, yes. No, but if you do, if you do, and you play baseball, don't get suspended more than 6 times. Don't get caught, is what they're saying. So consequently, the message sent by our government people and by our the holders, protectors of our national pastime is pretty.
Well, you can be a 6-time loser. I mean, that's beyond liberalism.
Yeah.
6 times.
Yeah, that's really getting. And have you noticed that we honor everyone in this country who has beaten alcohol, beaten drugs, beating their wives, beating their kids, no longer has illegitimate babies. These are the people that get all the medals in this country today.
Sure. And, well, look at the Magic Johnson thing. I don't know how much you've talked about it, but I'm sick and tired of hearing about Magic Johnson.
Yeah, and I'm sick and tired of hearing how he had 2,000 women.
Yeah, I'm sorry that he has AIDS.
I am.
But I think it's unfortunate that he is becoming almost a bigger hero because of it than he was when he was just a great basketball player.
Well, he was a great basketball player, and he seems to be an awfully nice guy. But don't try to poo-poo, and neither should his wife. Don't try to poo-poo, pardon me, I don't know. Can you say get laid? I guess you can. That you had sex on the road over 1,000 times.
Yeah, and he was talking last week on television, 6 at once. Now that, that may turn...
6 at one time is absolutely ridiculous.
That's right.
3 is much more. No, I mean, seriously, I mean, he was, and his wife was sitting there laughing at it.
Well, but again...
And Cookie's a nice person.
He is the hero. He is the role model. Even now, he is being held up as a role model for coming forward and admitting... I don't know, frankly, how he could have hidden it much more in this proctoscopic world of journalism we live in. The fact is he came public, he admitted it, and now the whole country is on this yo-yo of finding out what the latest medical report is on Magic Johnson. I'm tired of it.
How about the folks at home, huh? 1-800-BUG-MORT. Have you been following the Magic Johnson case? I do resent the fact that some of his fellow players are trying to insert their family values into as to why Magic shouldn't play. So we get into that vicious cycle because he has a little scratch. They're afraid they're going to catch AIDS, which is probably, and I say probably ridiculous because I'm not sure the CDC tells us the real truth about AIDS, that we know everything that there is. But, you've got Wilt Chamberlain bragging about the fact that he's had 20,000 women. We've had Magic Johnson talking about the 2,000 women he's had on the road. I have never discussed the 6 I've had in my entire life because I guess that's not a lot. Huh?
This also, however, might have something to do with the tremendous growth and success of the NBA.
You're right, it might.
They may be building their constituency one-on-one.
That's right. That's a strong possibility. Let us go to Helen in Mechanicsville. Helen, let's get you on the air this day. How are you today?
I'm fine, Mort. How are you?
We're sending some pretty crummy messages out there, aren't we?
Not really.
I mean, I don't know, what is family values? What are family values?
Well, it's not just teaching, not just spending time with your children.
Got to be more than that, right?
Right. It's got to be teaching your children right from wrong.
Okay, that's an easy thing to say, right, Bruce?
And respect for other people.
How do you do that? How do you do that? Let me ask you a question, Helen. Ever gotten mad at someone of an ethnic background and called them an ethnic name in front of your kids?
No.
Helen,
no.
This is Uncle Morty.
No.
You've never done it?
Never done it.
You've never said you black SOB?
No.
You yellow SOB, you red SOB, you white SOB?
You dumb SOB.
Okay, you said dumb. Now, is that a form of respect that you're teaching your children? You see, what I'm saying is we all have these values and we understand them, but we are unable to paint pictures of them ourselves to our own kids all the time. And that, too, is human nature, Bruce.
Right, but also one of the things I think it means insofar as perception is concerned. I mean, to one generation, it's Norman Rockwell. To our generation, it might have been Father Knows Best or the Brady Bunch.
Yeah, unfortunately, they tried to make it Robert Mapplethorpe with a cross sticking up the rear end of someone.
That's right, but the problem is, we in this country, the vast majority, have grown up watching a perception of what good family values are on television. And it was Ozzie and Harriet, or it was Father Knows Best, or it was the Brady Bunch.
Oh,
we know there were problems in all of these in these families in real life, let alone the television perception.
Yeah.
But so many of the perceptions that you have in this country are built on what people see on the big screen that comes out of Hollywood or on the small screen over the last 35 or 40 years. And those perceptions of what reality is, they're not real. They are absolutely not real. They are no more real than some of the perceptions of family values that are being perpetrated on television today.
Any comfort in those comments, Stoll?
I think the thing is that we don't teach our children to do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Oh, well, sure we do every day. Rip them off just the same way you're being ripped off, kid.
Well,
I mean, that's it. We become a nation of rip-offs.
The thing is that you don't have anybody in the media or anything that your children are exposed to outside of the home.
Good role models.
To reinforce what you're trying
models.
to teach them at home.
In other words, what you're saying is you need some good role models, and, we just don't have any role models around
Well, you've got Mr. Rogers. There's
come on, get with reality, Bruce.
Well, but what I'm saying is, This is what comes through the television. This is
Mr. Rogers.
well, see, but you see, that to me is the other extreme.
Oh, absolutely.
That is the other extreme, because that's not real either.
No.
But
and do you know everything about Mr. Rogers? Would you like an expose on Mr. Rogers today on this show? Kids, were you raised on Mr. Rogers? You 30 and 40-year-old yuppies out there? You want me to tell you about his sexual habits? Well, I am perfectly capable of doing that, and very likely in the next half hour we will discuss the disintegration of the morality of Mr. Roberts and why you do not see him actively on television today and why he doesn't look that good. Stand by.
The Downey Show in the Washington, D.C. area. Call 202-882-9721. Nationwide, it's toll-free. Call 1-800-28-4-MORT.
KVI features the hottest talkers on radio. Limbaugh, Siegel, Reagan, and now Morton Downey Jr. Each morning beginning at 5 a.m., clock radios are going off all over the region. Tuning in Seattle's morning update on 570 KVI. Because your time is valuable, KVI is your quickest source for morning news. It keeps you on time. You know when to get the latest traffic, weather, and business updates. Hear more news mornings on KVI than any other radio station. No nonsense. Just news to wake up to 7 days a week, 5 to 9 a.m. on 570 KVI, period.
U.S. Bank has always offered customers unique check designs.
Okay, Mrs. Compton, thank you. And hey, that is one exquisite flower arrangement on your check there. Oh, that's...
But now U.S. Bank is also offering something else
Okay, comes to 38.20.
that may make less of a statement, but a little more sense. The U-Bank check card. It pays for things from your checking account without writing a check, anywhere Visa is accepted. It also pays you 1% every time you make a purchase, up to $599 a year.
Okay, man, that's 2 CDs, 1 cassette. It's like $47.88.
So while we still offer good-looking checks, for those who want to write them,
Wow, way cool teddy bear on the check, dude.
we now offer a card so you won't have to.
He's got like a balloon and a duck. No way.
No check checking from U.S. Bank.
Oh, yeah, and U.S. Bank's like majorly a member of FDIC.
52.
Museum of Broadcast Communications in Chicago. I'm live today, my friends, as opposed to dead, which would be kind of a smelly bore. Morton Downey Jr. with you. From Charlie McCarthy to Ed Sullivan, Richard Nixon, they're all here. The puppets, the entertainers, the politicians who made radio and television history. And that is the Museum of Broadcast Communications. This is an unbelievable place. When you come to the Cultural Center, formerly the old library in Chicago, Illinois, just off the corner of Michigan. An absolutely beautiful place. Bruce Dumont, who is the real honcho who put this together, is also a political analyst, consultant, commentator, the originator of what is now being called the McLaughlin Group. That format was originated some 12, 13 years ago. I want to ask you, Bruce, before we talk about the museum, a little word association.
All right.
Warren Christopher.
Solid.
Boy, I identified him as a pablum puker right away. Huh? Just had to give him one name, and I knew Hillary Clinton.
Pushy.
I'm not interested in her sexual prowess, and that's kind of okay. That's good. Dan Quayle.
Tough.
Interesting. John McLaughlin.
Arrogant.
Jimmy Carter.
Weak.
And therein lies some of the leadership of America, some of the image makers in America. And isn't that interesting? And I would have to say, for the most part, I agree with you, other than the Warren Christopher situation. One last name, Bill Clinton.
Driven.
Adolf Hitler.
Mad.
But would driven have gone first?
Perhaps.
Strange world.
Although I don't necessarily draw the same conclusion you do, but I think he clearly has had his eye on one thing since he was 16 years old. That can blur your vision He's reached that part. The thing, just to elaborate at one point on Dan Quayle, he is the most maligned politician in the last 35, 40 years in this country. And
Other than Richard Nixon.
Yeah, and I think...
And I think he'll have a second and third life just like Richard Nixon.
I don't know about that, but clearly there's something inside someone like that who's been able to withstand what he's withstood.
Well, I mean, he's been with Marilyn all these years. Those would be kind of enough to toughen you up a little bit. I am so amazed at the job you have done from ground zero to the most fabulous facility of any area of communications museum in this country.
Well, thank you, Mort. I really appreciate that because I know you were working in Chicago when this project began 10 years ago this month, as a matter of fact. We've been open since 1987. It is one of only 2 broadcast museums in the United States, and it is the home of America's only Radio Hall of Fame. And this program today is coming from the Radio Hall of Fame studio. And as I mentioned earlier, you're the first national broadcast to come out of here, and we really appreciate your being here.
I'm delighted. I'm definitely honored. That's the only way I could ever get into this museum by doing a show like this. Nobody puts me in museums.
Right. But also, in addition to some of the artifacts that we have, with Charlie McCarthy and Mortimer Snerd and Jack Benny's vault, we also have a working television studio, and the real core of the museum is the archives upstairs, where we have access to over 60,000 radio and television programs, where people can come in and sit down and watch or listen to them at any time, and it is free of charge. So if people are on their way to Chicago, we'd love for them to stop by and see us.
Where did you get all these exhibits from?
The exhibits came from a variety of television stations, not exclusively here in Chicago, but around the country. We have the television camera that was used on John Kennedy, the close-up camera, for that historic very first presidential debate which took place in Chicago in September of 1960. And we say that's the television camera that really changed America, because politics and TV have never really been the same since. We have a Sportscaster's Cafe, which chronicles the great moments in American sports. And virtually everything that we have in the exhibit area, really, it's a sampler to get people to go upstairs to really interface with the tapes that we have. So it's a library, and also we're very fortunate that there is an opportunity for people around the country to help build the Radio Hall of Fame, because this really is Sunday night. We're having the first induction ceremonies that will be carried coast to coast on some of the major radio stations in America. Paul Harvey will be the host of the broadcast, and we're inducting 5 greats into the Radio Hall of Fame Sunday night.
Thank you very much. What is your prized possession in the museum?
I think the prized possession, in addition to the camera that Kennedy was used, it would probably be Charlie McCarthy and Mortimer Snerd and Effie Clinker. For those
folks who don't know, Edgar Bergen and Charlie McCarthy, Edgar Bergen is the father of
Candace Bergen.
You're right.
And he was a native Chicagoan who made his mark on society and entertainment, and the beloved characters of Charlie and Mortimer and Effie are alive and well in the Radio Hall of Fame. And I would like to invite your listeners, Mort, if they're interested in knowing a little bit more about what we're doing here.
Can they write to you?
They can write to us, or better yet, they can even give us a call at 1-800-860-9559.
860-9559.
Right, and that's to the Radio Hall of Fame, and they'll know a little bit more about what they can do, because in 1993, there will be a new category. It will be the Listener's Choice category, and those who are members of the Radio Hall of Fame will have an opportunity to select one of the 6 inductees that will go in 1993. This year, on Sunday night, we will induct 5. It will be Leonard Goldenson and the Grand Ole Opry, and Casey Kasem, and J.P. McCarthy of WJR in Detroit, and Don Amici. But next year, there'll be a 6th category, and the public can select that by calling 1-800-860-9559.
Bruce, I thank you very kindly, and to all of you, stand by. We are going to talk about more than just family values. We're going to talk about some great relationships. Oh, this is going to drive you crazy. Next. You're listening to programs that we did together. She has some information for all of us. Maybe. Contract sex. Guys, going to have sex? Get a contract from them first. Get a contract. We'll be back in just a moment. to meet someone new. However, in this hour, we're going to talk about what you should do with them once you've met them. All right? I want you to know that first before you have a chance on meeting someone. We're going to have a little dating game going on up here in a little while.